And the work that we're looking at doing in December is the start of that strategy. Having had the conversations with the ecosystem, one of the things that's become very clear to us, myself and Theo primarily, because we had those conversations, is the need for access to market. Now, primarily, we are a compliance first solution, and then access to markets second. But the approach in Nigeria has had to be we've had to look at it as an access to market first.
Hey everybody, this is Theo, one of the co-founders of Zengate Global and the Director of Business Development. I'm here today. I'm very honored to be here today with our new Head of Country Operations in Nigeria, Henry Oko. And today we're going to talk about what the next steps are, what we're actually going to be doing on our trip, on our upcoming trip in Nigeria now in December, how we're going to be planning on onboarding the cocoa farmers that we've targeted, and of course, what's going to look like for the coffee, the palm oil farmers that we're going to be onboarding on Cardano. And essentially, we're going to be discussing the different challenges, how our partners are going to be helping us on the ground, and all the plans that we have for the first EUDR compliant shipment that we're going to be having coming out of Nigeria, hopefully before the end of year, and a lot more. So, Henry, welcome. I'm very, very happy that we're finally having our first official video together since you got hired.
Hi, Theo. Thank you very much. Really happy to be here. Hi, everyone. It's a pleasure to meet you all again. I have met some people in the community. It's great to officially be here, be part of the team, see how things work from the other side, and obviously help the team to get to the heights that we're trying to get to and to achieve a lot of the things that we're trying to do, not just globally, but primarily in Nigeria as well.
Before we start, do you want to just give us a little bit of a background of yourself? Tell us who you are and, a little bit of your journey up until today.
Sure thing. Yeah, so I mean, I come from an IT background. Mainly the Web 2 space. I've been in the Web 2 space for quite a while. I don't also obviously I had a startup, many years ago. So the journey with Zengate so far is something that I'm fairly familiar with. So I got into crypto after leaving the Web 2 space. This would be sometime around 2018. So I've kind of been in crypto since then, just kind of, like most people, bouncing around, trying to see what's happening, trying to find my own a place, where I could obviously contribute and be of use. And obviously found Zengate and Palmyra early this year, early 2025, or I think it was late 2024, to be honest. Got into Palmyra at the early stage, started to see what the project was about, started to see the team, what the team was trying to achieve through various AMAs and various town halls, and like most projects really in the space. And I suppose when it clicked to me, what was being built here is really, I think, an AMA sometime in January, where I think it was yourself, actually, and in a community that I'm part of. And I started to put the pieces together and see that, okay, look, with what the guys are building here, there's actually a huge opportunity in Nigeria, not just Nigeria, but in Africa as well. And reached out to Theo via a Discord message, and got the conversation started really at that point. And I think what surprised me or shocked me the most was how quickly that conversation sort of grew from just really an email saying, "Hey, look, I'm from here. I have access to this sort of people or to this sort of ecosystems or value chains. What's possible?" And that conversation really took on a life of its own from there. Theo, you reached back out to me saying that, look, there's quite a lot that's possible here. And then started getting into the entire conversation around EUDR, how that affects that whole geography and that whole those value chains from Nigeria. And that quickly spiraled into a visit to Nigeria. Theo, yourself, myself, and you, we went into the trenches. Yeah, into the
Into the
real
bush.
trenches,
Mm.
into the bushes, yeah, to actually see this value chain firsthand. And for myself, I suppose, coming from a Web 2 space, a purely tech space, I never really ventured into a value chain to see what was involved there, who are all the players, how things work on ground. So that was a real learning experience for me. And being on that trip with you as well, I was able to mirror everything that's happening on the tech side and what Palmyra is looking to build with the value chain on ground. And putting those pieces together became much more clearer. And that again quickly spiraled into joining the partners program, where we did that for about 6 weeks. And got to see really from the back end how things work in Palmyra, and get a clearer picture of what the team was trying to build. And for me, a lot of those things just sort of solidified my thinking that, okay, look, I want to help this project build. I want to be part of what's happening here. And I suppose at the time, it was there weren't really any conversations about me coming on board. But I suppose with the work that we've been doing over the last couple of months, I think it's been since May at this point. So a lot of the work that we've been doing really on the ground, talking to people and just building out relationships, I suppose those pieces just came together. And we are here today. And yeah, again, very glad to be on the team.
And we're going. We're discussing about the third trip within six
Yes.
months that we're
Yes.
doing together down to Nigeria.
Yeah. Yes.
Who have thought? Yeah, I think
Who would have thought it, right?
there's a lot more detail into your journey, and I know there's a lot of things that we're going to be unpacking later in the future. We're going to definitely have a
Mm,
lot more
mm,
conversations with the community, with everyone, either that's in spaces or different recordings and interviews that we're going to be doing. But let's just move forward, talk about what's coming. Let's discuss about what we're going to be doing now, after Catalyst, right? Up until
mm,
now, the community knows about our work within Nigeria and all of the goals that we have put together because of Catalyst, because of the big campaign that we did as a team, and push the message out there. So let's discuss about this. What's coming? What are we doing now? What is the plan for the next few weeks?
mm.
Yeah, let's go
Yeah.
over. Let's just do a high level overview with some bits and pieces here and there.
Right. Right. Yeah, of course. Why not? Yeah, I suppose I probably should say, Catalyst, what a campaign that was run, to be honest, right? Because I mean, at the time I was still kind of outside the team. So just looking at the level of work and the amount of work that went into Catalyst, um, it was eye-opening for me, to be honest, because a lot of that work directly translates to what we're about to do in December. Now, so like you asked, I mean, we're going into Nigeria in about a week, and we're going to be there for 3 weeks really. So I know it's myself, it's you, Sam, and one of our partners that are going to be going down to Nigeria, and we're actually going to start engaging the ecosystem directly. Now, I know some work has been done prior to now towards onboarding, which we have been doing, but we are actually going boots on the ground, hands on deck, directly engaging with farmers, directly engaging with producers, and we're looking to bring um, all of these people onto the platform essentially, and get their value chain fully onboarded. Now, what does that look like? We're starting with the cocoa value chain, and the way that looks in Nigeria, it's a bit it's tiered, right? So at the bottom level, you have the farmers. Above the farmers, you have the producers or aggregators. In Nigeria, they're called LBAs, or licensed buying agents. Now, they are the ones that would aggregate all of the cocoa from the farmers. So they buy cocoa from farmers. Now, traditionally, they would then sell it to the exporters, because the exporters have access to the international markets, right? So if in that hierarchy, the exporters extract the most value from the value chain, chain. Now, what we are doing is we're looking to go in and work directly with the farmers and the aggregators. So we're looking to bring those two levels of the value chain online so we can make them fully EUDR compliant. Now, what is that? What's that going to look like? That's going to involve us directly onboarding the LBAs first, and then we onboard all of the farmers that they work with. So we're going to be collecting all of the ESG data for the farmers as well as mapping out their farms. Now, mapping out their farms, that's it's tricky, but it's going to be interesting because we're actually going to be mapping every single farm for every farmer. That involves mapping the entire perimeter of the farmers plots. This is going to be a 3 week exercise, but that's in a nutshell what we're going to do. Now, beyond that, and what's important and obviously very dear to us here at Palmyra is we're going to be doing an empowerment program for the farmers as well. So, yeah, what does this look like? The empowerment program, we're going to be giving the farmers inputs that obviously go directly into the farming process. So fertilizers and disease control, for example. So not only are we going to go on board all of these people, we're also going to help them directly in their farming processes. Now, this is something that's purely taken up by Zengate in partnership with the local government. So we're going to be working directly with the local government as well. They're going to provide us the people that we're going to use to onboard the farmers and the people that we're going to use to map out their farming plots as well. So that means that we're creating some level of direct employment there. And these people are people that we're looking to build into the process with us, so that as we expand in Nigeria, we have people that are going to be working with us, right? So it's going to be a rinse and repeat over the 3 weeks that we're there working with the people directly on ground. Now, once that's done, and this is the important and the beautiful thing. What are we going to do with the ecosystem? We're now going to expose them directly to foreign markets. So as it stands now, EUDR hasn't kicked into place. The EU is still trying to figure out exactly when they want this to kick off. But as we know, for now, it is December 2025. So we're working that by December, January, we actually want to get these people that we've worked with direct access to international markets through the Palmyra platform. So very soon we're going to have conversations where we're going, EUDR compliant cocoa is available on Palmyra. Go and buy, right? So that's something that's obviously very exciting. And to think about where this journey started from a couple of months ago to now, where we are actually doing it, and we're actually going to get those people online, and we're actually going to get sales directly through the Palmyra platform. Phenomenal.
And one thing that I think is very, very important to highlight, because you mentioned by empowering the local community, empowering the farmers, and you also mentioned the different tiers. The
Mm,
important thing is that now the LBAs and the farmers are going to be having, they won't be needing the exporters anymore in a sense. So what
yeah.
that means for them is that they're going to be able to sell their products directly to the international markets, as you mentioned, and that way they'll be able to make better margins for the same
Mm,
products that they used to sell, right? Instead
mhm.
of having to sell it to an exporter, they now directly sell it to a buyer. They get better margins. They can pay their workers more, right?
Yeah,
This is something, and that empowers the local economy and communities at the same time.
yeah. I mean, those are two very important points because right now, when we look at the margins that are potentially there for this middle level players to be able to access, we're talking about anything between 30 to 45% extra on the margins that they can get versus if they were selling to just the exporters, because for the longest time the exporters have always dictated where the pricing is. So they dictate what they buy from the LBAs. The LBAs then dictate what they buy from the farmers. So we're looking at a scenario where this can trickle all the way down to the farmers, which is obviously what's core for us.
Exactly. Now, I think we covered the everything around the empowerment side of things, how we're going to be able to onboard the farmers, the LBAs, and the impact that it will have. So, going over the capacity building side of things now, and the training that we're going to be giving to the farmers. in Nigeria, starting with Boki, of course, on this first trip. But of course, we're going to be working with doing this, throughout cross river states and hopefully throughout the whole Nigeria. Um,
Mm.
we have Pond Foundation. We also have Nine that we recently signed an MOU with. What is going to be their role? How is this going to translate on the ground now, with the different training programs that we're going to be doing?
Right. So, well, obviously there are two things there, which is the Pond Foundation and Nine, and how these two entities, what that partnership looks like, and how it's going to look like moving forward as well. So maybe I start with the Pond Foundation. Obviously, we're working with the Pond Foundation, who are who are traveling with us this December, and the idea there is they're going to be helping us because they've done a lot of this sort of work before. So we're going to be leveraging on their expertise and their guidance with unlocking this ecosystem or unlocking these value chains. And what does that look like on the ground? They're going to be helping us with the onboarding exercises. We have a plan in place. They've looked at that plan. They think it's brilliant. But they're going to be coming down and just giving us like an overview really of what we're doing and helping us fine tune that as we look to move forward in Nigeria. Now, they're also going to be looking at structuring, training programs for when we really, catalyze this ecosystem, how we're going to train, farmers when they're onboarded, when we start to build levels on top of what we've already done with the system. How do we continue to train the ecosystem when we, start doing sales, for example? How do we structure the content that we decimate to the ecosystem and how they take that on? That's primarily the job of the Pond Foundation. Now, with Nine, there are our ecosystem and capacity building partners in Nigeria. Yeah, so they're helping us unlock the Nigerian ecosystem, so to speak, on different levels, on a governmental level, both including the national level, the state level, and local level. They're also helping us unlock the ecosystem on a private level as well. Now, there are a lot of conversations happening outside of Bookie, which Nine has helped us facilitate. So, coming into Nigeria, having that sort of partner that has the know how and contacts within government on different levels to help us unlock various conversations that are super important to what we're trying to do. And I believe that as we move forward, a lot of these things will come to light. There's some very interesting conversations that we are having, and that's what Nine has been able to help us do. They're also our capacity building partners within Nigeria. So a lot of the things that are developed, between ourselves and the Pond Foundation, Nine are going to be helping us implement those training programs. So whenever we're engaging a new ecosystem in a couple of the other states that we're talking to, for example, and we need to schedule trainings, we need to schedule workshops, we need to do a whole bunch of different things. Nine are really our partners that at this entry level or at this early stages anyway, they're helping facilitate a lot of those things. So it's a super important partnership, and already internally, obviously, we can see the fruits of that partnership. So that's obviously what's led to us signing that agreement with them.
And one of the things that I think I should add, because I even completely missed it, is that we also have Mangrove, right? Mangrove
Yeah.
is our partner in Boki that has helped tremendously with all the different conversations, even the trip that we're about to have right now. So, nevertheless, Mangrove has also been an amazing partner that we've actually had the initial conversations on the first trip
Mm,
when you and I went to Nigeria, Henry. So
mm,
yes, I feel that we have, there's quite a few different partners that we have, organizations that we're working with, especially on the capacity building side of things, and making sure that whenever we go and we start doing these different training sessions with the farmers, with the different stakeholders, all of these partnerships that we've actually put in place now are going to help tremendously with bringing things into life. So, with that being said, I think I think we can end our very first initial introductory conversation with everything that's coming up about December, and over the next weeks we have a very very busy last weeks of the year, I will say. We're gonna make sure that we're gonna close the year with a big bang, on board 1,000 farmers on Cardano. Make sure that we actually give them the solutions that we need, have the impact in their lives. And this is again one of the very first series of videos that we're going to be doing with Henry. And of course, there's going to be more team members joining the next ones. Sam, for example, after we do the trip, we're going to be talking about the learnings and everything else that we identified, the different challenges that we probably had, so we can make sure that on the next one, on the next trip, which is going to be in January of next year, we're going to go there. We're going to go stronger. We're going to go with more mature and knowing exactly what works and what doesn't. And I think not just 1,000 farmers, but we're going to be able to hit the 10,000 very shortly, as long as we just show up, we go on the ground, we do the work in the trenches, in the buses, talking with the people that actually are going to be using this solution, and making sure that it makes sense for them, it helps them, it makes their life better. And of course, we're going to be recording all of this progress, and that way we're going to be able to, as we say, build in public, and hold ourselves accountable to everybody that supported us.
Obviously we've had a lot of conversations with a lot of partners, a lot of people on the government level, and it is formed our overall strategy on how we're looking to approach Nigeria. And the work that we're looking to do in December is the start of that strategy. Having had the conversations with the ecosystem, one of the things that's become very clear to us, myself and Theo primarily, because we had those conversations, is the need for access to market. Now, primarily, we are a compliance first solution, and then access to markets second. But the approach in Nigeria has had to be well, we've had to look at it as an access to market first by offering compliance. So the whole idea with taking a small set of the value chain, getting that online at the moment, is we need to get that to a point where they're compliant, and then we give them access to market. Now we strongly believe, not just ourselves, but from all of the conversations that we've had, we strongly believe that once we adopt that approach and we see this first phase through, that will then galvanize the market, because everybody is looking for that. They're looking for access to market. So if we can provide compliance, then hit that very major step of access to market, the next trip to Nigeria is going to be so much easier, because everybody's looking for this. We know, because we've been having those conversations. So that's something we're very much looking forward to. I seriously can't wait myself. So we're looking forward to the trip.